Why luxury or the luxurious life is not everything. Okay, so welcome back to another episode of Healing into Femininity. It's me, your host, Joanna, and let's get right into it. So, I have been thinking about luxury and richness, like richness, value, worth, luxury. Like these are all the hashtags or the keywords in most of the conversations that so-called leveled up women, the level up journey, living your best life and all of that. These are the words, right? This is the association. And of course, I am all for women's empowerment. I am all for women finding their innate value. And the innate value of a woman is, first of all, her life experience in and of itself, and also all of the gifts that come with inhabiting a feminine body. And of course, it's very diverse and unique, but also I believe that inheriting or embodying a feminine body comes with a lot of similarities. So I subscribe to the fact that we're not so unique. Like we actually, like, of course we are unique. Like we have this totally unique remix and composition of things that no one in the world has exactly the same of. Absolutely. No one is going to be exactly like you. And at the same time, I do believe that we share a lot of commonalities. Like this is something that I ground myself in as human beings and especially as women. And this is something I want to highlight. And definitely also again coming back to the topic of how I feel like also this like the soft life and the luxury and the beautiful girl aesthetic with the cappuccino and with the book and the white blanket and the having on a dress and being in Italy and traveling the world and going to these fancy places and having luxury or designer clothes, all of that, I love it. All of that, I love it. And at the same time, I think it's boring. And me personally, I don't really subscribe like literally to content creators who create this kind of content online, like all of the pages with the like with the beauty aesthetic, which is totally fine. Like it has its place and I think it's beautiful. And at the same time, this is not all. So again, I want to give nuance on this platform about the dual nature or the nuanced nature of life. So I have to say I've always felt rich, like literally. So I come from like my mom is German and my dad is Ghanaian, and I had the privilege of growing up in both cultures. Like literally moving to Ghana when I was 3, coming back as I believe like the first memories I can remember were me being in Ghana. I loved my life in Ghana. And everyone in Ghana always says like it's so good to go to Europe, like that's the Ghanaian dream or that's the African dream or whatever. It's just a generalization. Probably not for everyone, but for most people, their dream is to leave the country of their origin and seek a better life in Europe or in the US, somewhere where white people dominate. So this has been the rhetoric, and I probably inherited that rhetoric as well. So I thought, yeah, amazing. I'm going to Europe. Of course, I have my mom, she comes from here, and coming back to Europe, I kind of always felt like, wow, I'm here. Like I'm living the privilege already. I can remember from a very early age that I felt this, like I kind of identified as being a Ghanaian because I feel like my first memories were made there. So I felt like a Ghanaian coming to Germany as a child, and then I realized, okay, the kids here are different. In Ghana, we've already been to like kindergarten, but kindergarten was already very disciplinarian. Like it wasn't just playing and being like immature, but it was more like learning how to read and learning how to calculate and some kind of like a military discipline. We always had to stand in line like little soldiers. We had school uniform like little soldiers. So it was already very disciplinarian, which I actually didn't mind. We also got beaten with the stick. So that was my experience, and I know that's a common Ghanaian kindergarten and then school experience. So very disciplinarian, which is not always good, definitely not. But I also felt there that I had a balance. So I came with already kind of having a little bit of indoctrination more from the Black side coming to Europe. So I always felt very privileged. And I have to say, like that is my biggest privilege. That's what I feel. I love how Exoticals United always speaks about privilege stacking, and I'm gonna do it here. So this channel is all for my women who like to brag about themselves, who want to stack privileges, who want to speak about their privileges. I want to speak about privilege. I want to speak about all the things that I feel are privileges in my life. And if it triggers you, I invite you to still stay. You know, most people say if it triggers you, you can get off the channel, and you can, of course, you're free to go. This is my little platform here on the internet. But I want to also invite you to stay if it triggers you, because the trigger is always the gateway to a higher awareness. And that's what I want to promote, promoting our privileges. And one of my privileges has always been to, or that's also what I felt. And I remember that I have had the awareness of having these thoughts very early on in my life that I'm an adventurer at heart. So probably also shaped by my very adventurous past or childhood. So when I came to Germany, I felt that, oh, wow, it's a new experience. Let me play. And looking like observing is one of my core traits, like people watching. That's what it's called today, I think, right? People watching, on observing, like, how are people moving? What are they doing? What are they saying? How are they doing things different from what I know? And always going everywhere, snooping around, being curious, wanting to get to know all kinds of people, all kinds of people. So I had this Ghanaian history and yeah, and then I explored what was going on, and this is one of my main privileges. I love following other content creators, and they give me a lot of inspiration about what I want to talk about. And for me, I have to say, because I think hopefully I am going to attract all kinds of people from all around the world, and giving like a different perspective, because I haven't seen anyone like me yet, to be honest. So having this black and white experience, but also Germany, or especially where I'm from, being from the Ruhr area, from the Ruhrpott, I have had the privilege of having access to many different cultures, from Turkish, Moroccan, Indian, German culture, then of course also tapping into other African cultures. I remember growing up around not only Ghanaians, but also Congolese people a lot, so French speaking Africans. And later on, I had a very good Kurdish friend. I had a very good Russian friend. I have had Black women always, like, yeah, Black women. But one of my earliest friends, she was mixed. She was half Somalian, and her mom was a mixed German Korean, like a Blasian, right? And we also discovered that word very early on. So this was our mixed experience. And this is one of my riches. This is one of my riches. And I want to invite you to check, what is your rich experience? I am proud of my experience. I am proud of my cultural exposure real in my everyday life, let alone that I did travel and I did see the world, and I did look into different cultures. And I actually always love immersive experiences, meaning that I don't only just go to just even the restaurant is an immersive experience, but when I travel, I like to travel and really dive into the culture. So I had this one very good Kurdish friend, and she took me all the way to East Turkey to stay with her family in the Kurdish village where they're still like grinding their own grains. And I actually did that, like grinding the grains to then make like whole wheat bread, flat bread, and like they're making their own cheese and a lot of agriculture, beautiful nature, being with the grandma who's still working, being with the whole family, sitting on the floor, drinking chai, and then doing this bus trip. Oh, it was beautiful. It was like really this is the time where I saw the most beautiful star sky. I don't know how you call it, but like a night sky with the clearest stars ever. And right in front of her grandparents' house at the edge of the village, there was this lake. It was like, but more, it was a lake, but it was kind of like a big pond with clear water. And I remember that we went downhill, but it was really like it was a little walking distance, but we could just walk from the house. Like that was like the next thing. And then we walked through the field. It was like a untouched nature. We walked through the field. We met this little turtle, which was amazing. And then we went swimming, like naked swimming in this little big, no, it was a big pond, but like a little lake in front of her grandparents' house in the middle of like the Kurdish area of Turkey. Like, this is what I love, immersive experiences. And I feel like I've had many of those experiences into different cultures. And yeah, I could tell so many, and I'm probably going to tell more, but I also want to invite you to think about luxury in a different way. I feel like it's so one-sidedly portrayed, like luxury is only going to the five-star hotel, going to these beautiful material places, which I love too, like don't get it twisted, but not only. Like I love these immersive cultural experiences, diving in, being part of the everyday life. And most of cultural experiences, I would say, are a little like unnatural. Like I can't generalize, but let me just speak from my experience. But are very, maybe sometimes a little poor and very nature focused because it's a lot agriculture still. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. So that's why I feel it's a trap to only seek these like luxurious experiences. Again, you can do both. I'm not shaming neither. I love both. But if we're talking about luxury, I believe traveling, having immersive experiences. Also, yesterday I met with like one of my friends. She's a German girl, and I love her. For me, she is extremely rich. She definitely comes from a privileged background, having had exposure to all these arts and crafts and culture, having her parents pay for, like she um did horseback riding when she was younger. She learned the cello and other things. I don't know what else. Like every time I meet her, she tells me more. Like she is so full of talent. She is a graphic designer. She's a yoga teacher. She does excellent pottery. She is a reader. She is a spiritual student. She's a free mind. She's a thinker. And this is all the things I would say this is what I am too. Like I'm not no, nowhere near as excellent, no at all, as she is in actually crafts. She plays the cello. She now sings as well. She has this like literal genius boyfriend who also is an artist. Like he is a producer. He plays instruments. He also does like he's a baker. My God, look at this. Like that's rich, right? knowing how to do things, knowing how to create. We come like that's also a key point of my channel is about creating, and creation is not only um I don't know, some fancy things. It's literally about the skills you have to make your life beautiful, which can be an art, right? Or it probably is an art, right? Knowing how to bake, knowing how to play an instrument, knowing how to dance, knowing how to do anything is a science or an art if you take it serious. And that's what I want to open your minds to. Rich and feeling rich is not necessarily, it doesn't have to, let's change the perspective of this luxurious thing. If you have no personality, if you don't have any exposure to arts and crafts and unfolding talent, I think you're boring, like this squeaky clean beautiful aesthetic of the rich girl, whatever, is boring to me, is very boring to me, even though I have a lot of it. Like my apartment is very clean. I have like the colors are like white and rosé, and yeah, I mean, even the background, you see it a little bit. That's the aesthetic in most of the rooms in my apartment, like white and gold and clean and neat. But I also have my I call it my sanctuary, like my living room, but it's more of a, yeah, it is more of a sanctuary kind of style. Like it's more earthy tones. It's like beige and brown, and even this like more of this turquoise, but the darker colors, and a little earthy. And this is where all of my books are about, like shamanism and about the tarot, like all these mystical storytelling, medical or esoteric. These are where these books are here. A lot of books are here as well. But I just wanted to, yeah, invite you to expand, or maybe even to see your riches. Riches is not only about the money, which I believe comes when you have found the riches inside of you, which is your cultivation. Like it's all the same. It's about a cultivation of the mind, a cultivation of the ability to critically think, to think for yourself, to trust your thought process, to be able to hold two contradicting ideas and be like, that's cool for me, that's actually my truth right now, but I also accept that truth, for that's fine. Like learning how to learn, having reading, that's my thing. Yeah, philosophy for me, it has been for the past 7 years, a lot of like metaphysics and personal development, but also like really the technology of the mind, but also about alchemy and about plants and about food and about high performance and things like that. Like also, and stories. This is what I got from my mom. Like she plays a big part in my, let's say, expanded awareness, because she has always been a reader, and she also like read to us early on. Like that's what she did, and I love it. Like I feel like this has set me up in a good way, that I had imagination, and yeah, just being like, okay, the world is this big adventurous place, and yeah, this totally goes to my mom. And up until today, like she's one of my best yeah, conversation partners. Well, like we bounce it back and forth, thinking about the world, also thinking about bigger topics like environment, the environment, about how to reduce plastic, how to yeah, eat healthy. This is also something I exchanged with my mom a lot. My mom and me, actually, we had a business together, a vegan cafe. So she's more of the practical. My mom is an excellent cook and baker. She's also a very resourceful woman. Um, we speak about finance. We speak about women's rights. Like my mom like made me. I definitely became who I became also by my own explorative nature, but she of course set the foundation. So I'm giving her all the kudos. But that's what I mean. Like, and it has a little to do with money. Money plays a big part. I love money. I am all for financial empowerment, and especially learning how to manage money, learning how to make money and be independent, and also learning how to deal with money, right? Having a budget, having an investment, a fund, learning how to invest. What does that mean? It's actually quite easy if you know about what's going on in the world. If you know where things are moving, if you know your history, if you know the present, if you know human nature, if you know the future. So that's what I'm trying to share with you, that being rich, or a life, an abundant life, being rich, being like seeking after something, can be about so many more things. Oops. As I said, having a rich mind, having a rich creativity. Creativity is also like being resourceful, right? Knowing you have A and B, and being resourced enough to be creative, to create magic, create some sort of meal, or create in interior design. Or also, my mom is also amazing. Today it's about praising my mom again, but she is my inspiration. She's very good with plants. She has been working with plants all her life. That was her job. Before we set up the cafe, she was actually in a managerial position, leading like this place where you buy plants, right? Like this big DIY. Most of the time in Germany, you have this big DIY store, and next to it, there is where you buy the plants. I don't know the name for it, but that's what she like managed and led. She was the supervisor there. So also knowing how to, yeah, have a garden and have your own vegetables and things like that. This is also what I learned from my mom just by looking at her, learning how to cook, learning culture, right? Being rich in ideas, right? Being rich in ideas and being rich in perspective. Ah, yeah, also being rich in love, which I feel is so underestimated. And I can definitely speak for myself, because at one point I was so singularly focused on empower myself financially, which is amazing, but also appreciating yourself and other people for being rich in love. I have had, as I said, this friend, my Kurdish friend. She was also, oh my God, she was also so creative. Like literally knew how to, she was a very, how do you, like a handy woman. She used these big machines. The friend that I hung out yesterday as well, like we did some pottery yesterday. Like she has her own um like garage thing, her own workshop. I think that's the name, right? She has her own workshop. And my Kurdish friend too, like she had an exquisite style in interior design, and she could do her own furniture, like doing the, I don't know how to call it, but the, like on some chairs, there's the cushion and you can change the cushion, right? Or everything. She was so good at it. Also good at, I think this is the abundance that I am talking about if I speak about feminine abundance. It's about, because the success, I believe 100% that feminine success, or for a woman to consider her life to be successful, it has to be abundant. So that means you have to feel good and beautiful and nourished and healthy in your body. That's one way of being abundant. Knowing how to eat right, right? Knowing how to move, like having some sort of exercise regime, and maybe twisting it up. The same thing goes with relationships, right? Being abundant in relationships, or being in abundant, you don't have to have a lot of friends, which I also think is amazing and being great. It's a beautiful skill, but also have be abundant in creating a beautiful relationship, even just with a few people, like changing things up, being an interesting person. If you are an interesting person and you have multiple interests, it doesn't get boring, even in a relationship between two people, because everyone always constantly brings something new to the relationship. Also being abundant in your own talents and skills. This is what I feel that we want to and have to focus on more. Of course, they're so, like, we can do everything. Like, I'm everybody can do whatever they want. I'm not judging, but I just want to bring this perspective. I think it's so fulfilling, because sometimes we feel like we are not fulfilled and we seek something outside. I have definitely been there too, like seeking the adventure outside, which is totally fine. But maybe sometimes it's seeking money, which is also totally fine. Sometimes it's seeking a relationship, which is also fine. But if you think that these are the only things, and sometimes these, especially a relationship with a man, that's why I'm decentering men, finding a relationship with a man that is actually like the one you want and you going for it, I don't believe it works for an abundant woman, because it's going to be coming more from your like your hunter perspective. And yeah, I don't really see that working, but it doesn't matter. The point here is, it's more about, Mm, if you focus on the outside, if you focus on living this beautiful, abundant life, living this beautiful, luxurious, more, that's the word, not abundant, but more this luxurious aesthetic that is literally, this is what I'm talking about here. If you think your goal is living a beautiful, luxurious aesthetic, I can tell you it's not it. Like, that is just one part. If you feel abundant from within, you will definitely you will definitely go to these places. You will go to these places. You can sit in a rooftop hotel bar of a luxurious hotel, even in your own city. You can do those things. You can fly to Dubai or wherever you want to be luxurious, and you can do those things. But maybe you don't want to do that all the time, or maybe you don't have the finances for it, or maybe you think that's all you're seeking. Yeah, but it's more so to be creative enough to have a rich, fulfilling life with amazing conversations, with amazing people. Like, that's just what I can say for me about yesterday. So I was looking cute. We were ready for a day trip, me and my girlfriend. We met, then we first, like, we cooked or we had some breakfast, then we got ready, and then we drove to a forest, and then we walked through the forest. It was beautiful. I didn't even realize how much I missed being in a little bigger forest, because the energy is so nourishing, so calming, so grounding. So we did that. And it was just 45 minutes away from where we live, right? So sometimes we think, oh, we need this grandiose life somewhere outside of us, but we can just literally go around the corner sometimes and then find something new. So we went there, and of course, because those things happen to me all the time, we met the forest ranger. Is that the word? Right? We met this forest ranger, the one who takes care of the forest, because he came for us because we were not walking on the, like, designated path, but we were just walking, like, somewhere, not on the path. And then he came for us and he asked us to not walk there, because there were, like, wild animals, like the wild pigs. I don't know if that's the name, but I think that's the translation in German. Yeah, the wild pigs. And then it started to become this, like, he actually gave us like a information little tour about the whole area and the whole forest, and how they like how they take care of the wild animals. So this is what I learned. I learned that they're like these wild pigs are wild animals, and that deer are also wild animals. So deer, or they are called red wild animals. They're like red wild and the black wild. So the pigs are the black wild, and the deers and all these kinds of animals, they are called red wild. And then that's what I learned, and then where they hide and what they do. And then he talked, like we talked about the trees, and I learned a little bit about the different tree types. This is what I love. I love people with substance, and that's really the word here. It's about substance, your curiosity for life. That's me. Like, again, that's just my point of view, and that's what I'm going to share on this platform. My point of view. I believe that having substance, interest in different things, in nature, in culture, in beauty, in fashion, in luxury, in whatever topics that are going on, I think it is important to cultivate, or to um educate yourself, or be open, just simply being open to tap into the riches that you already have. And this is why, like, I'm kind of taking myself as an example. Like, this thing here, like my YouTube channel, is the example, is my own lived blueprint, because it's a big scam to think that the riches are outside of you. And I believe that the first place you should, or you are invited to look, is your own life experience, and your own city, your own, exactly where you are, like exactly where you are, to wake up to the abundance and the richness of your own life experience, the richness of your health, the richness of your history, your experiences, the richness of what you've been exposed to. Yeah, maybe it is culturally diverse, just like my background, or maybe it's not, but there's still diversity and richness, probably, if you look, exactly what's going on around you, right? The diversity in nature around you, whether it be like around the corner or maybe a little bit further out. It doesn't always have to be this thing where we seek for something, or we desire something that seems so far outside of ourselves. So this is where I really want to debunk the more this materialistic, as I said, like this aesthetic of the cappuccino. I mean, I love my cappuccino with cream as well. Like, again, I'm not either or. I love my cappuccino with cream. I love traveling. I like to look pretty and all of that, but that's not all. Like, the richness of life is literally, for me, is being able to tap into duality, and to be able to tap into everything. And I think I wrote about this, or I recorded a podcast episode or a video about it before, that for me also, what I love is to actually also be exposed to, like, the real life in different countries. So for example, as I said, like, my dad is from Ghana. I have a lot of family still there. And like, just last year we went to Ghana with the whole family, and I've been to Ghana many times. So like, after I left when I was a child, like we lived there, as I said. So I've been there, and this is what I love, and this is what I feel makes me rich, just to know different, completely different worlds, and completely different socioeconomic standards. Like, what I loved about Ghana was the, like, kind of the madness, just having this taxi that literally has a hole in the bottom of the car, so you as a passenger could see a little bit of the street, but this car is still allowed to drive. And in Germany, that would never happen, because there's this very strict legal, um, like a procedure where you have to get your car checked every few years, and then you get this stamp that your car is actually allowed to drive 4 more years or however long, I don't know. And then you have like in Ghana, maybe there's like the ground, like the bottom of the car is open or everything. Like people literally also poverty. Like it's real, you know. Some people are also always trying to portray Africa as, oh, now we're so high tech and everything is beautiful. Yes, there are very luxurious places. There are amazing hotels. There are amazing places to go, bars and restaurants and beautiful nature and beaches. It's all there. And at the same time, there's a lot of dirt, a lot of garbage, a lot of craziness, a lot of broken down cars at the side of the street, a lot of smelly areas, a lot of smelly people. I mean, it's all there. You know, it's all there. So this is what I really, that's why, like, that's, I think that's really one of my main messages. It's, and you gotta love it all. You gotta love it all because what would it be if everything would be um like sterile and the same and just beautiful and just pretty, and the same thing goes with also your personality. Yeah, I spoke about that in another video, that I believe like this whole femininity, toxic femininity movement went sour for me, because like how to be more feminine, how to speak more feminine. Yes, okay, if you are way over there and you don't know how to hold a conversation and you don't know how to be sweet and pretty or whatever, then maybe that concept serves. But also me just sitting here, I think with my beautiful background, and now I have like this frizzy fly out hair. It annoys me, but I'm not gonna be like, oh no, that I can't upload this because I want to create this immaculate image. Why? Because I'm free, you know, and I want you to be free too. I want you to embrace both. You're amazing. You're working on yourself. You're growing. You're having your priorities straight. And maybe I should also do a videos on priorities and actually living your life in a way that is getting you ahead in a sense of your personal goals. But at the same time, you don't have to limit yourself by aspiring to perfection, which I believe this squeaky clean luxury aesthetic is somehow kind of also taking out the life and the personality of people, which I think is boring. So, and I think life would be boring if it would just be this or that. You know, the richness of life is tasting it all, having street food that you might have a running uh gut or whatever it's called afterwards. Oh, it's also an experience. It's not the most pleasant, but it's an experience. And at the same time, of course, the luxury hotel in Aruba, in where in the islands, you know, or Dubai or wherever, Mallorca or whatever, you know, wherever you want to go, all the luxury places in Doha. Like my girlfriend, she's actually going to the Oman today. Um, yeah, so it goes hand in hand, and I believe that that makes you a very well-rounded personality, human being, embracing the full human experience. That's my point of view. I believe it's about expanding. It's expanding into both directions, being able to see this and appreciate it, and being able to see this and appreciating it both, and not only being kind of confined to even like when we talk about self-image work and yeah, this whole level up thing. I think that's what it is. Most people, because most people come more from poverty or from middle class, depending on where you come from. I definitely come from middle class. Like my mom has always, as I said, she has always worked, and I think I actually thought that we were rich because we could go on holiday several times a year. And my mom and her husband actually, they like today in they're having their pension, their retirement, and they're traveling like all the time, like 5 times a year or so. So this kind of makes me feel rich, but it's an average income. They're just very resourceful and know exactly what their budgets are and how to plan things. And I think they're actually one of my biggest inspirations because they actually know how to really plan out a good life on a budget. And you can live a very rich life on a budget too. Yeah, you don't have to. I love money and I love a lot of it. And I have worked for making a lot of money or having a price, let's say that. But what I really want to emphasize here is life is about variety. Life is about diversity. That's what it's about, a diversity of experiences, being able to sit down at a let's say regular bar with some very interesting people, or go to this high-end, classy um, place where there's a piano playing in the background and some live music, and you drink a virgin martini or whatever. Have it all. Have it all, but don't let yourself be confined to one aesthetic. That's my thing. What do you think? I want to be in contact. I want to be in exchange. I want to find out what you think about that topic. Have you been kind of trapped to this one-sided aesthetic about the level up journey, that it only looks a certain way? Also, only in terms of look, like I said, this whole like this beauty thing, beauty or luxury kind of aesthetic, but it also comes with the look of a person, right? With the hair and the nails and having your nails done all the time, which is totally fine. There was a time where I did it straight, but now I have my natural nails and it doesn't devalue me. It's not that that now I am less than because my nails are not done with acryl or gel. So being more free and knowing your inherent value, because you actually gain some life experiences, you actually have something in your brain because you're educated, you're interested, you have hobbies, you have talents, you have skills, you have life experience, you traveled, you met different kind of people. This is what makes life rich. So I would love to hear from you. Let me know about, yeah, how you got trapped into maybe one side. It could also be the other side, just being trapped in this, that you're only worthy to experience maybe more of the poverty side of things, but also maybe feeling less than because you come from this and you only want to be here. And maybe you have even made it, yet to now be surrounded by people who are in these circles, and now you've kind of fully abandoned this, which I also think is very sad because there's a lot of richness, juice, fun, and all of that in this as well. It's a mindset. It's a mindset to be able to enjoy all and to actually move with grace and with a certain level of self pride in all situations, and not only, oh, I am now fulfilling this beauty girl aesthetic and that's the only validation for me to see that I have made it. Let's break out of the patterns. Okay, so I'm looking forward to hear from you. I know I'm always rambling and rambling. Yeah, I can't stop myself. That's just what it is. But if you're here for it. Okay, so much love and take care.